Good afternoon, family. Okay, so I'm coming by with your word for today. And your word for today is accountability. 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 Okay, before we get into it, let's look up the definition of the word. Okay, so the definition of accountability is the fact or condition of being accountable, responsibility. And you see the similarity says responsibility, liability. But some may still be a little confused on the definition of accountable. So let's talk about the definition of accountable. The definition of accountable: a person, organization, or institution required or expected to justify actions or decisions. Responsible. That's the first definition. The second definition: applicable, understandable. But we still a little confused, right? So let's look up justify. Justify: show or prove to be right or reasonable. And then you see the theology definition of justify at the bottom. Now let's look up ability. Let's look up ability because the word is accountability. So let's look up ability. Ability: possession of the means or skill to do something. Capacity. Okay. So now that we have broken down accountability to the smallest definition, we know and understand that accountability is really just being responsible for your actions. Something that we all have the ability to do because we all breathe. So as long as you breathe air, you have the ability to be accountable for your actions. However, accountability is not something we would all like to take. I told someone a couple of months ago that accountability should have been carved in our hearts, just like pride and ego. Because if you're going to have pride and ego about your actions, you should also have accountability. For example, a lot of people ask me why I don't have tattoos on my legs, my thighs, for better context. And I would inform because of a promise that I made to my grandfather years before I even started getting tattoos. My grandfather promised me that I would never tattoo my legs, preferably my thighs, because his statement was, and I quote, "No, a man doesn't want." What did he say? It wasn't a man. He said, "Tattooing my thighs will take away the naturalness of my skin on my thighs." That's what he said. He's not too fond of me having any of the tattoos that I have. But if I had to tattoo my thighs, I broke a deal. So because I have accountability, then I know that that's something that I will never be able to do. Now, lack of accountability is to go and do it and then come back and act as if I don't know the promise that I made. Lack of accountability is doing something and not taking responsibility for your actions. Man, woman, boy, or girl, we all have accountability. We are all able to be responsible for the actions that we take. For example, if a child hits another child, you want that child to take responsibility for their actions, correct? Correct. So how in the world, let me slow down. Let me slow down some. How in the world can you, as an adult, as a child, to render a characteristic that you don't even show or render yourself to said child? Accountability is apologizing to your child when you are wrong because you know you are wrong. Lack of accountability is telling the child, stay in the child's place. What place is that? I have yet to see a place called Child's Place. There's a store called Children's Place, but that's for clothes. But I have yet to see a place that says Child's Place in regards to a child's actions or a child's questions or anything regarding a child. But that is one of the most famous quotes that adults like to tell the children when they don't want to take accountability for how they're treating the child. And then you want to know why said child grows up with childhood trauma, because said adult has not yet taken accountability for actions rendered to said child. I love when we have these staring matches, because I'm going to win every time. I'm going to win every time. I ain't even got nothing else to say. Start taking accountability for your actions and stop telling kids to do something that you don't even do yourself. A child can't be accountable when they don't even know what accountability is. It's your child as an adult to teach them what accountability is. The only way you can teach someone something is if that's what you're doing yourself. Accountability is your word for the day, ladies and gentlemen. Let's start being accountable.